why I chose to do Rifaximin. I have been trying to treat my digestive issues since the beginning. So 10 years ago, almost, it was like 9 years ago, I went to the doctors when I was like 18, 19, and I was like, hey, I am having these digestive issues. I'm starting to have a lot of diarrhea. This isn't normal for me. And I actually have the doctor's report. I have my whole medical history. And I have the report from the doctor, me explaining my symptoms, me being like, hey, like, this is happening to me. And at the same time that I went to the doctors, I had just had a bunch of oral surgeries because I have a tooth implant, and I was on antibiotics. And it was like, the doctors were kind of like, oh, you may be allergic to dairy or wheat, so you should go on an elimination diet. So for, 6 years, I went on an elimination diet. I just had restrictive eating, and I really was strict about not eating dairy. And I also played around with wheat. I found that dairy was way more of a causal of my symptoms than wheat. But needless to say, after 6 years of really strictly taking dairy out of my diet, my symptoms still persisted. So to me, it was not, a dietary situation. It didn't matter. And I tried a lot of different diets throughout those 6 years. So at about the 6-year mark, so I guess another piece I'll add is I did diet stuff, and then I went to an herbalist. And so for 2 years, I worked with an herbalist, and we tried different teas and tinctures and different herbal remedies and all of these different things to help with my digestion. Now, she did not specialize in digestion. She was just a Western herbalist who, really supported me in my journey. But at the end of those 2 years, I still had my symptoms and nothing had really changed, but I had tried the alternative healing path for quite some time. Now, fast forward about a year and a half, this is when I go to the doctors and I'm like, okay, guys, this has been a long time. What's going on with my body? They're like, you have IBS-D predominant, right? Diarrhea predominant. And I was like, duh, no, yeah, that's obvious to me. And so at that time, they suggested that I try the FODMAPs diet. Now, at that point, I had already been vegan for a solid year. I had gone raw vegan. I had been vegetarian. I had gone paleo. I had gone high carb, low fat, high carb. I had tried all of these different diets, and none of them worked for me. And if anything, some made it worse for my SIBO, like raw veganism and veganism in general made it worse for my body and worse for my skin, and that's all in my acne videos. And so, but I tried the FODMAPs diet, and when I tried the FODMAPs diet, that also didn't really help me. So, fast forward a few more years, and here I am, okay, I'm still having issues. I have IBS, but I don't know what that means. I don't know how to treat it, right? I've been trying all these different things, and I'm finally piecing together that I probably have SIBO, because people who have SIBO tend to have symptoms when they eat high amounts of fruits, raw fruits and vegetables and beans, because that's what the FODMAPs diet shows, right? The FODMAPs diet is take out all of these foods that have these certain saccharides, and for me, the foods that were causing the issues were those foods that commonly cause issues for people who have SIBO. So I went to my GI doctor. I told him I thought I had SIBO. I took a SIBO test. It came back positive. I found a naturopath, and I started working with a naturopath who specialized in SIBO and IBS. So the reason why I chose to go with Rifaximin instead of all of the other alternative medicines is for a few reasons. Now, the first reason is from my research and with talking with a lot of people, Rifaximin is a localized microbiome modulator. So yes, it is a pharmaceutical, but it's not it's not a universal antibiotic that's going all throughout the system. It's very localized. It's not harmful. It doesn't have many side effects. That's from the research that I've done and from the doctors that I've talked to, and also from real people who have taken Rifaximin that I know. Now, other people know people who've had horrible experiences on Rifaximin. So, you're gonna get all of the perspectives when you talk with people about it. But for me, it felt like a low risk option for the SIBO. And it also felt like if I actually have SIBO, if I have an overcolonization of bad bacteria that for some reason I developed, probably from taking a shit ton of antibiotics for literally most of my childhood because of various reasons and the medical establishment prescribing them like insane amounts, then it makes sense that I can take this Rifaximin and it will treat the bacteria, and then after the bacteria dies off, I can repopulate my gut with healthy bacteria and blah, 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 blah. You know the whole shtick, right? So it made sense to me to do it. Now, I explored herbal options. I explored what the kind of more natural, non-pharmaceutical pathway would be for treating SIBO, and I decided to wait. Now, that's not to say I'm not interested in doing it. I would be interested in trying that pathway, but I decided to not because it's more expensive and I'm on a budget, and it takes more time to do the treatment, twice as long to do the treatment. You have to take up to 20 pills in a day of different herbal supplements. That sounded overwhelming to me. And there's a lot of side effects, more side effects than the Rifaximin. And so anyways, it just felt like I'm willing to explore that, but down the line. The Rifaximin is kind of like faster, right? The idea of this being healed in a relatively quick way feels pretty exciting for me after having it for so long. It also feels like maybe not possible because I've had it for so long, but I wanted to give it a try. So I know that there's also Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, and I want to talk more about that later, but I decided to not pursue those pathways for now. And a big reason was just how hard it was for me to find accessible and affordable practitioners who offer that stuff. I was absolutely drawn to Chinese medicine and Ayurveda to treat SIBO, but I, researched for months trying to find a good practitioner, and naturopathic practitioners were way more accessible in my area and in my budget. And so that's part of the reason why I chose to do Rifaximin and stay with a naturopath instead of another type of alternative medicine. Okay, so now let's get into what my treatment protocol looked like. So I got this type of Rifaximin. I guess it's the knockoff brand called Rifagut. And I got 550 milligrams, and I took them 3 times a day for 2 weeks. 550 milligrams, 3 times a day for 2 weeks. Now, while I was taking the Rifaximin, I also was taking some liver support supplements, and in the liver support are things like milk thistle, dandelion, red root, and Oregon grape. So that's what I was taking during my protocol, during the treatment protocol, and then after, as soon as the treatment protocol ended, the day after, I started taking 1,000 milligrams of ginger, and this is called a prokinetic. And I also started taking probiotics, and it doesn't really matter what kind you take, it's just good to take the probiotics. So that's what my treatment protocol looked like. And what my experience was like was a lot. I had a lot of different side effects during the 2 weeks, and so I'm just going to name them off. So the side effects that I experienced was a couple of days after I started taking the treatment, I started getting a sore throat, and I got the sore throat in the morning times and at night, and then it would go away during the day. The sore throat went away after I stopped taking the Rifaximin. I looked it up. I guess that is a side effect that some people experience, sore throats. I also experienced a sensation almost like heartburn. So if you've ever experienced heartburn, it's kind of like a heated kind of tension feeling. It's like acidic, kind of has this acidic feeling. And I experienced that feeling in my, like right here, in my small intestine. So whenever I took the Rifaximin, I could literally like feel the bacteria dying. That's what it felt like. It felt like I could just feel it affecting my small intestine. It wasn't unbearable, but it was uncomfortable. Other side effects that I have had, the first 1 to 2 days, I felt really brain fog. I felt it was hard for me to communicate clearly, to think clearly, to focus, to be present. I just felt almost kind of high. Like I felt just groggy and foggy and drowsy. And so it definitely affected my mental capabilities. But that was really only the first 1 to 2 days. And then for the following 2 weeks, I did feel more tired, which is one of the most common side effects is feeling tired. So I did get extra sleep during those 2 weeks because by the end of the night, I would just be pooped and would want to sleep. Let's see, what other side effects that I got was I got a cold sore, which was unexpected, but halfway through the treatment, I developed just a cold sore right on the corner of my mouth. I also had acne, and the acne got worse for me during the treatment. And one piece of that was that I was on my period during part of the treatment, and I usually get more acne when I'm on my period. But yeah, I definitely had acne during the treatment protocol. I also had diarrhea during the treatment protocol, not all the time, but it was just kind of up and down. And yeah, so that was an experience. I kind of continued to have my regular digestive issues. However, I didn't really experience bloating, and so that was nice because sometimes, I experience bloating and farting and it's really uncomfortable, but I didn't really experience that during the 2-week treatment protocol. So that was what it was like during my treatment. Overall, I'd say more intense than I thought it was going to be, definitely manageable. And I just, went through it. So now, what has been my experience after taking the Rifaximin? So in regards to the supplements that I've been taking, one thing that was really interesting was as soon as I took a probiotic, I could feel this gargling in my stomach, and I could feel the probiotics just like colonizing my small intestine. It was a really weird experience. Like anytime I took the probiotics, my stomach would start to growl, which was unique. So it's been about a month and a half since I took the Rifaximin, and I have still had digestive issues, and I have still had, I'm still experiencing acne, and I would say the acne has not gotten better. If anything, it's just maintained the same amount, and I've continued to have my up and down journey where sometimes it's like a lot worse and sometimes it's not. And one piece of the acne is that something that I've noticed since my SIBO has gotten worse as I've gotten older is I'll get a lot of acne on my forehead. It'll almost be like sandpaper, and it'll come within a day or two. Like in a day or two, I'm like, oh my God, where'd all this acne come? And then it'll stay for a week or so, and then it'll be gone in a day or two. It's like boom, boom. And that, I absolutely have experienced that since after taking the Rifaximin. So I would say that the Rifaximin, I mean, it definitely did something, you know, I definitely felt it having an effect on my body, but it didn't heal me, right? It didn't make all my symptoms go away, and I'm 100% better now. So a part of what we think is going on, I met with my naturopath, is that I've had this for a long time, so a potential in what's probably going on is that we didn't treat me for long enough, and we didn't kill off enough of the bad bacteria in my gut. So what am I going to do next? So what I've decided I'm going to do next is do one more treatment. So this box that I bought, it comes with 100 pills of Rifaximin, and I bought it from Canada because it's extremely expensive in the US. I can link below some of the Canadian places that I bought it from, but you have to have a prescription. So I'm going to be doing one more 2-week Rifaximin treatment, and continuing to do all of the regular treatment protocols that I follow. And yeah, we'll see how that goes, and I'll keep you updated. And, you know, if that doesn't work, then I will pursue other remedies, right? I'll pursue the herbal types of Rifaximin, or I'll pursue Ayurveda, or I'll pursue Chinese medicine. You know, I'm really open to all of the ways that I can heal myself, and I'm going to continue to pursue this healing journey until I feel good in my body. And it makes, and so I think that that's just like where I'm at, and that's how my journey is going so far. And if you are on this journey right now and you're like hoping that Rifaximin is gonna like heal all of your issues, I was hoping and praying that it would, and you know, like, I think the insight that I have from this whole journey is that like every body is different, and everybody has different experiences healing from different things. And so Rifaximin may work for some person, but it may not work for another person, and it's just trying all of the different options until you find what works for you. And it's just like being persistent, being patient, being strong, being compassionate as we go through this journey and try and figure out how to heal our bodies. And so I think it's important, and I've been really trying to listen to my intuition. What is my intuition saying? Should I do Rifaximin again? My intuition is saying, go ahead, give it one more try. And then I'm kind of like, and after that, I'm done. I don't want to put my body through stress that is not necessary. So intuition and learning along the way. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, love, like, share, subscribe if you want to see more of me. Mwah. Peace.